everybody. Here we are back on the It Takes Grit podcast version 2.0. Woo, it feels so good to be back with you guys. And of course, we couldn't start the new year without, doing something about goals. But I know it feels so redundant. It's like, okay, here we go again, setting our New Year's resolutions, and you're going to feel like, I'm going to set them. Am I going to achieve them? And I have learned something in the last couple of months that has really helped me change my perspective on how to achieve goals. And I'm very excited to share this with you because honestly, that's one of the biggest reasons that I love doing this podcast is because anything that I learn from people that I'm around that are 10x where I'm at, I love to share that information on. And, since I've been starting to do personal development since 2013, I didn't make any of this stuff up. I learned this from other people. And of course, I adapt it in my own way and it makes sense in my brain and then I get to share it with you. But that's one of the reasons that I love just passing along a message that has really helped shape my life, that has given me confidence, that's enabled me to live in a place of gratitude. So this is something that I've learned recently that I'm excited to share with you. So you're like, Rebecca, I've done these goals before and I don't even know if I'm going to be able to achieve them. Well, let's just take a pause. Now, whether you are driving in your car or you are actually sitting down and doing this podcast like as a task, as playing full out with a pen and paper, I do suggest that so that you can play full out and you can also take notes. But even if you are driving, this is something that you can do later, right? So first of all, we got to look back and we got to celebrate. Because if we are constantly living in the future of like what we haven't achieved or what we're waiting for, you're almost in this place of uncertainty, right? Because you're always going, well, what's next? Okay, like what's next? And then you're feeling uncertain because you're like, okay, is this new goal going to happen? Rather than celebrating all of the incredible things that you've already done and feeling really excited and feeling really proud of what you have done. So, first of all, last year, 2023, what did you overcome? That's what I want to first start off with. There's going to be something in your life that you overcame. And that overcoming gave you a level of grit. Right? It gave you a level of grit and it gave you a level of strength. Maybe it's something that you're still kind of overcoming, but you are 80% there or 90% there. I want you to think, what was it that you overcame? Because every year there's going to be something. And trust me, some years there's going to be something pretty small. And some years there's going to be something like, wow, this was like 10 years in one. And that's so normal. So don't judge yourself for I only overcame this something small. Because already your mindset is not in the right place to be able to really celebrate your year. You're already thinking, well, that wasn't a big thing that I even overcame. No, there's no judgment around what you overcame. You just overcame something. Black and white. End of. That's great. So really think about what's that one thing that you overcame. Now think about the things that you've done. What did you do in 2023? And a great thing that you can also use as well is going back through your phone and going back through all your pictures. Because so often we forget some of the really small memories. And we go, wow, actually, that was something I can't even believe I forgot because it meant so much to me at the time. But our brain is always focused on what's next, what's next, what's next. And it's like, whoa, this is exhausting. But instead of thinking what is. So I want you, one, to write down, first of all, what's the biggest thing that you overcame? And number two, I want you to celebrate all the things that you've done. And once you've written that list, then go back to your camera roll and go back to January 2023 and start to scroll through and look at all of the pictures and all of those. Maybe it was just one day that you went bowling with your family. And you're like, gosh, I completely forgot that we even did that day, but that was so fun. And what it's going to do is going to make you smile. And it also might bring up a sad memory, but that's okay. What you want to do is you want to remember the year so that you are living in the present and you remember those things that were important to you rather than constantly thinking about what is in the future, right? It's being content with where you're at while pursuing where you want to go. Next question I have for you. What did you worry about at the end of 2022? So as you were stepping into 2023, was there something that you were worried about last year? Now, how's that gone? And so often this happens every year. You go, oh my gosh, I can't even believe that I was worried about that last year because of where I am at now. Or, oh my gosh, I can't even believe I was worried about that because what I'm worrying about now is even worse. And so in life, and now what's going to happen is the same thing, right? It's going to keep on going. Because what people say on their deathbed is the one biggest regret that they had is that they wish they worried less. Because as long as you're doing the right thing for the right reason, it's always going to work out in your favor. As long as you're doing the right thing for the right reason, it's always going to have an ending in your favor. It's just how long does that take? It's kind of like a piece of string. How long is a piece of string? Well, it just depends. So when you are celebrating all the things that you have achieved or you've done or you've experienced or the memories, just go through that camera roll and just get excited. And then remember, okay, what was that thing that I was worried about? Because sometimes going through that camera roll is going to bring up those things. Oh my gosh, on that day I was worried about this. Okay, I'm not worried about that anymore. And utilize that to go into this new year, not worrying so much about things that don't even happen. Because that's the biggest thing, right, in life. Like, we get so worried about things that don't even happen. And I had this really great analogy the other day. And, somebody was sharing, a personal story. And it was like, it's like with nutrition. If you put more good nutrition in your body, you're giving yourself B12 and you're giving yourself healthy smoothies and aloes and teas and you know me, all the nutrition stuff that I take. If you're constantly putting great nutrition in your body, it's really hard to leave room for bad food. Think about that. If you've got like 5 things that you have every day, maybe it's a healthy smoothie, some celery juice, a B12 tea, some collagen, and something that helps you sleep. It's really hard to put bad food in your body. Maybe it's a protein bar, right? Some protein chips. Whatever it is, if you are filling your body up daily because you've got all of the great choices in front of you to bring in great nutrition into your body, where is the time or where is the room to eat a whole bunch of rubbish food? And it's the same with your life. If you have got so many great things going on, because you're involved in this and you play this sport or you go to this gym and you do this workout class or you're part of a charity or whatever it is that you're part of. If your life is full of loads of amazing things, where is the time for negativity? Where is the time for feeling down? Where is the time for not being grateful? Where is the time to spend your time doing things that just aren't great for you and society? There just isn't. Have you noticed so much like negative people have just got nothing going on? Why do you think they create drama? Because they don't have anything going on. If people have things going on and they're happy and they're healthy and they're moving and they're shaking and they are working out and they're eating healthy and they are part of amazing groups, they don't have the time to do negative things or to create drama. So what in your life right now could you add in that's going to add more greatness and more amazing things into your day to fill up your day like you fill up your nutrition, that's going to make sure that you stay focused on being a great human, adding value to the world, and being happy? So that's just like a little analogy that I think is so important, because the more that you worry, it's probably because you're not really spending your time doing things that are occupying your brain. So if you want to worry less this year, what can you add in that's going to really help transform your mindset to be living happy and healthy every single day? So I think it's just a really important thing. Like, oh yeah, makes so much sense. When I said that out loud the other day, I was like, this makes so much sense. The more good nutrition I put in my body, the less bad stuff I'm going to eat. And the more good stuff that I put into my life, the less negativity I'm going to expend out. Right? So just really think about that. What's something that you can add in? And next thing, like, ask yourself, like, well, how did I grow? Now, we all grow just like a little bit, right? Whether it's in the right direction or the wrong direction, right? We grow in something, we morph into something. So what's an area where you felt like you grew? And maybe you're like, you know what, I grew here, but that's something that I really want to focus on for 2024. I really want to grow in that area. Because life is all about a challenge. And you get given challenges that are going to help create and shape you to becoming stronger and to finding more grit. What is that challenge that you don't like to feel a certain way? What is the universe or God trying to teach you that's going to help you evolve and grow that extra grit and grow that extra strength and grow that extra resolve, that even when you're going through something so challenging, you're like, oh, this is the most challenging thing I've ever been through, but what can I gain from it? What can I learn? What is this teaching me? And how can you keep on moving forward? And then what is your word for 2023? Like, have a word for it. Right? Have an identity to that, but something that is positive. All right? Otherwise, you're just going to bring more negativity into 2024. And you could always find something that is positive. So what is your positive word for 2023? Okay, so we kind of wrapped up a little bit of your previous year. And it's going to take some time just to journal it out and write it down and get your thoughts out of your brain and onto paper. And the more that you write, the more that you start to see a correlation between your patterns and your behaviors. So let's focus on 2024. Whew, it sounds even crazier saying that, doesn't it? Absolute madness, like 2024. And look, we could write down loads of different goals, and I've really gone through how I've strategized planning goals, like what I do each month. But I want to just keep this one like a little bit more simple because I've got a great analogy that I want to use at the end. And if you guys are loving this episode, then just let me know and I'll go into more detail about how I set my goals. I believe I did it at the beginning of 2022 of how really strategizing goals, what to do each month, each year, your 5, your 10-year goals. But today we're going to focus on just 2024. And I want you to come up with 3 to 5 goals. Why 3 to 5? Well, you don't need more than that right now. And it doesn't matter if you pick 5, if you pick 4, at least give yourself 3. You might be like, you know what, there is only 3 things right now that really feel right for me to write down. Don't push it. If you're like, I'm kind of like, I'm like 50% of this. If it's a 50% of that, don't do it. You want it something to be 100%. And you can be 100% now, and in a week's time, it drops down to 90. That's okay. But write down the things, 3 to 5 goals that you're like, you know what? I want to achieve this year. Now, it could be something physical. It could be a business goal. It could be an education goal. It could be a body transformation goal. Whatever it is, make it varied. It might be like, hey, you want to work on like this specific skill. You want to work on this specific growth area of your life. You want to find those 3 to 5 things, make them varied, so that it's exciting, so it's different areas of your life that you're really working on. And we're going to focus on those 3 to 5, okay? So once you've got those 3 to 5 down, what is really important is why. I know you've heard this a lot before, but like you got to get to the root cause of why you want that goal. Why is it important to you? What emotions are brought up when you think about that goal? I want you to be emotionally connected to every single one of your goals because emotion creates motion. If you are emotionally connected, you're going to find a drive, you're going to find grit, you're going to find motivation to keep on going. But if you're not actually emotionally connected to that, when it gets a bit tough or when you don't feel like doing it, you're not going to do it. So we got to get to the root of why you want to do that. So you almost have to write it out like 10, 20 times. Why do I want that? Okay, why is that important to me? And again, okay, so what you wrote there, why is that important to you? And then you get down deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper until you really get to the root cause of that why. So now you've got that why, you've got your 3 to 5 things, you're emotionally connected. You need to ask yourself this question. This is a big question. Who do you need to become? Who do you need to become to make sure that you execute on those 3 to 5 goals? Who do you need to become? Who do you need to surround yourself with? That's honestly one of the reasons that I created the Positive Influencer Group, was because I needed to create an area where I knew that people would thrive and reach their goals because they were surrounded by the right people. And they were becoming the people that they needed to be to reach those goals. So one, like, who is it you need to become? And who do you need to be around? You don't necessarily need to write the names of these people, but you want to write the attributes. Positive, outgoing, supportive, driven, accountable. So not only is it who do you need to become, but who do you need to surround yourself with to make sure that you stay on the right course? Because proximity is huge to your success. If you're surrounded by a bunch of negative people and you're surrounded by a bunch of people that are trying to tear people down, you are going to be that too. But if you are part of an amazing community where they are lifting each other up and they're supporting each other and they're calling each other out on their BS, you are going to get to a place where you never even thought was possible. So really, really important to, one, know who do you need to become to make those goals happen. And number 2, who do you need to be around? Very, very important, okay? And then what skills do you need to learn? What are the skills that you need to learn that are going to help you get those 3 to 5 goals? It might be that you need to learn something within personal development. It might be an actual skill that you need to learn. Maybe it's something that you need to go to school for, or you can YouTube. But you can literally YouTube and Google and YouTube and ChatGPT pretty much anything. So you got to ask yourself, okay, it's great that I have these 3 to 5 goals, but do you have the skill set? I remember like even just setting up this new podcast, right? I'm like, okay, great. So what have I got to get together? I want a new kind of mic. I need the right wire to go through it. Okay, if I'm going to do interviews on my laptop, what is the device that I need to be able to put this mic that's going to be attached to my laptop? I had to learn that. I had to figure it out. I had to ask questions. I had to Google. I had to go on a website and make sure that I was ordering the right things. That was something new that I learned. So what are the skills that you get to learn that are going to help you with those 3 to 5 goals that you've written down? And then lastly, this is that little nugget that I was talking about. This is that part where I was like, okay, this is something that I've learned that is new over the last couple of months. And this is what's going to help you make sure that those 3 to 5 goals happen. So we spend 80% of our time in the things that we do know, and 20% of the time in the things that we don't know. So in the things that you do know, do you grow? No. So if you are spending, and some of you might even be spending 100% of your time in the things that you do know, because it's comfortable, because you know it. But for you to be able to get to the other side and to be in a place where you are living in 80% of the don't know and just 20% of the do know, that journey to get there, the only thing that is that big roadblock or that big brick in your way is fear and excuses. Because the journey to get over there is up and down and wiggled and back and side and front and left and down and roly-poly and cartwheel. It's not a nice, linear, perfect, straight line. It is all over the place. And you've got to know that going in. However, if you really want to get those 3 to 5 goals, you need to be spending more time in the areas that you don't know. 80% of your time wants to be spent in areas of unknown, of uncertainty, of outside your comfort zone. So whether you are starting a new business, do you have a business right now and you're just staying in the areas that you know? Okay, so I know to post on social media. Okay, but what I'm not doing is actually reaching out and speaking to people, which is how you get clients. Okay, so I'm spending more time in the place that I know rather than the area I don't know. And the area of don't know is actually the thing that's going to help me get to my goal. So I want you to really grasp the concept of this, because if you stay in the 80% area of the things that you know, and there's no challenges or there's no growth and you're just staying comfortable because you don't want to get outside your comfort zone, to expect yourself to be able to hit those 3 to 5 goals, it's going to be impossible. And this is where the big switch comes in. And this is that little nugget that I was talking about that is not going to make making goals redundant anymore. How do you actually know that you're going to crush these goals? Because you are now going to spend more time in the areas that you don't know. Even if it's 50% at the beginning. And then we work ourselves up to 60 and 70 and 80, and you want to get wild and crazy and go 90%? But I promise you that if you don't spend time in the areas that you don't know, how is it even possible to reach those goals? Because you have got what you've got now because of what you know. You don't have what you want because of the things that you don't know. So imagine, I want you to get so excited about this. Imagine if you spent more time in the areas that you don't know, how that would create those 3 to 5 goals actually becoming a reality. So write that down. I need to spend more time in the areas that I don't know, because that's what's going to help me reach those 3 to 5 goals. But think about that concept. When you go to bed tonight, just close your eyes and go, God, if I woke up tomorrow and I just spent 50% of my day in the areas that I don't know, how would I grow? How would I get comfortable with being in uncertainty? How would I get comfortable in being outside of my comfort zone? Because the more time that you spend in that area of don't know, the better you're going to get those results and the goals that you actually want for 3 to 5. Okay? So just remember that concept, because I think so many times we're like, oh gosh, here we go again. We got goals, we're trying to set them, and I'm not going to set them, and I don't know why, and maybe I'm just not motivated. No, it's just because you're spending more time in the areas that you do know. And if you've got a friend right now that you're like, gosh, this is such a great concept, I know that they would love this, and you want to be an impact changer, share this with somebody today. You don't know the ripple effect that you're going to have on somebody else's life or on our universe just by sharing this with somebody today and allowing them to hear something that they've never heard before. Because that's really what personal development is. It's being aware and understanding different concepts, they're going to be able to help us get to where we want to be. So I appreciate you so much. Make sure that you subscribe wherever you are watching. Share the It Takes Grit podcast. You can also follow us on our Instagram, It Takes Grit Podcast too. My name is Rebecca Louise. Thank you so much for joining me today. I love you guys so much, and get ready for our next episode.